Let us now pay attention to details. Since I have declared as of yesterday, America is White House, and regretfully in Serbia we have Yellow House. It might well, because of the Yellow House in Serbia is happening as occupation, it might well that we talk about White House equal existing in America as occupation. Someone is rushing too much all of this, and someone is using my words as wings of Avatar. New Zealand, I have not allowed my work to be used as wings of Avatar to anyone else. I'm old-fashioned rather, and I declare the eagle as I have declared it already. Like 15 years ago, I recognized my work very much aligned with protocol eagle of the entire region. I recognize the matrix of the region in shape of eagle, and I claim the matrix of it by the genetic structure of my by my temple, which means it's not exactly White House. It is actually the eagle of the region, which is, you might call it metaphysical, or it is actually very much in reference to identity politics of the entire region. I would not say here that White House of America is going to be that much holding some kind of nomination account to any of it. Equally as Yellow House in Serbia is not holding nomination account on more serious grounds there, because it represents a Celtic presence in Serbia. To the extent that White House represents a reptilian society in America, we just have opened a new chapter in understanding history, and it is far away from sealing on anything yet here. I'm going to find marching of daily politics on the wings of my work looks very much like in the movie Avatar, rather than to do anything with the eagle whatsoever. That's my message to America, to USA. Let's return to eagle, USA, to symbol of eagle, USA, rather than to symbol of Avatar, to symbol of Avatar. And then let's focus. Let's pay attention to details here. First of all, let's pay attention. I'm holding active work in my hands, and you cannot afford even to call me. I just still wonder how Donald Trump cannot afford to call me, but he can afford to fly in England when I have put my paw over England since the day I started to do this work. Well, in agreement with the Buckingham Palace. Would Buckingham Palace have right to speak with anyone else first and before they are going to talk to me about what would appear to be my affairs? Appears that someone still is playing Belfast here, although it looks more like Orange Fast, which is not that much, should not be that much typical for Orange, rather. And someone is true to its colors, rather than pretense, someone would not be that fast. But since in that America everything is pretense for quite some time, and anything in on that vest is so pretense, a part of these native elements, which still are to be under assessment how far they can declare human dimension at all, for whatever reasons, certainly not to blame them, just to notice things, just to somehow assess the ground before we are going to proceed with managing the planet. I can't understand why politicians continue, which is executive politics, continue to jump on my grounds. Monarchy is positioned between sky and ground, and Donald Trump is ground level. It should not be easy for him to jump to the level of monarchies. If monarchies were not that much down, so that is so much possible. And if they cannot jump that much easily to me, that means that I am real monarchy, because then you will notice where monarchy stands, where real monarchy stands, between the sky and the ground. And it's not that easy for people to jump there wherever they think they want to pay a visit. Usually that would be by invitation or calling upon something. On what ground White House of America, which yet not be, we have not even developed further analysis to what is going to some, to what historic heritage is going to some, and how it's going to be defined within the fabric of American nation. Someone is going day 2 and immediately attend the territory, which is also not that much of a territory itself. It all amounts well for nice Hollywood movie for sure. But for political event, that doesn't qualify. Second point, I'm going to notice excessive use of rhetoric that doesn't belong to professional fields, including politics, as politics is professional field, as for example, hate speech. These are kind of newly developed expressions that, as I have said, are nothing professional and therefore do not have any more serious weight, but gossip chapters in newspapers. When you are employing political functioning, professional functioning, you don't bring emotions there. Neither is love, neither is hate. That rhetoric doesn't belong to professional language, neither belong to politics, therefore, because politics is professional field. Politics is not anymore private matter. Maybe in previous times it was private matter. That is where monarchy also belong very much to some kind of private set of emotions. Although it is nothing private in what they do, it is national. It is 21st century. 20th century was very intensive in advancing political literature. 21st century, one half of the planet is very seriously politically educated, versus which America continued to be a village of undereducated political stage. Can you hear me well? America today sounds as undereducated political village. Let's keep that in mind, please. Undereducated political village. That is Westland. And if I want to step up, to step down there, the intention is to bring that on higher level, not to disappear into its oblivion. Keep that on mind. Keep that on mind, please. And if that stretches all the way to the puppet called Israel, well, so be it. They're talking about judgment for 2 millenniums. Today they cannot use the word. Today it's not a judgment, but it is hate speech. Now, can Jewish media, which completely control all of the media in the world, on the West side, can Jewish media explain to me why they're not using notion judgment? This is political analysis, but they're using notion hate. And so Israel is to answer the question. I have not granted this work to Israel, and no one can assume that if they are associated to having some temple on their territories, that they would be entitled to the work of actual physical person. That is not how political temples should be understood, or religious temples. So let's write this in our constitutional word, so we are not going to be confused for any future times. Having certain historic temple on your territories would not entitle you to possessing a physical person or the work of a physical person. My verdict for today. So I have no idea on what ground. I am denied Israel and West lands. I'm denied access to the grounds with this level of political sense and sensitivity. And you continue to play the ground. Well, you are a rather underground protocol. White House, if you are a rather underground protocol, why you continue to behave as you are ground protocol? White House of USA, you have your question for today. If you were wise enough to wait until I do my approach, you would be saved from this question. Now you can't be saved from this question. In the same time, having yellow house not sitting in Macedonia, where we can talk about historic event where certain yellow impact has happened. Or maybe it basically, most logically, it is happening via corridor Sengidunum. Anyway, it is still very hard to accept White House as a legitimate political authority of Serbia. We have a very unsettled situation in Serbia equally. And if we are going to identify these two centers as main cornerstones of entire Western political presence, then one is to notice the ground is rather shaky. We are talking about two main strongholds of the entire Western politics. In substance, two kitchens of the entire Western politics, which are totally, I would say, rather displaced. It is very hard to speak in such way about America, about White House in America, which is obviously very much natural. It is easier to accept some kind of political diversity in USA because it is newly created country, newly created nation, and you have enough diversity. You can't exactly say what would be original identity to USA as a standard, but then you would to assess how far White House is within the narrative. It's harder to establish that in USA. We might just talk about in what direction things were progressing, rather than talk about some kind of irregularity versus some kind of established standard. In what direction things are progressing, and how far we are going to find that self-standing event, which of course we can't. There's the situation here. There's the situation here. To the extent that the same situation we have in England, we equally it can be concluded that cannot be self-standing event on some kind of planetary grounds. Let's say like mainstream political center of the entire planet, and that is where now the transition and the reform are need to happen. So these two getting into some kind of agreement, which rather would be maybe some sort of alignment, is not going to affect that much. Neither can afford to affect Western politics, because it is rather negative event, and no one would like West to be categorized under principal protocol that is going to have negative reference and bring everyone down. So neither is going to have high evaluation point for Western politics. But neither Western politics is going to have its headquarters with that kind of walking ahead and above approach, which cannot afford to be that much neither ahead, neither above. I would certainly avoid to use this such extreme vocabulary if I was not pushed into this. So let's do not make it worse. Let's not push it too much. Let's not make it worse. America and England. Of White House. Yellow House will need to be in Macedonia rather than in Belgrade. Yet in Macedonia we awakened into White City, like prolonged hand of White House, while we are having Yellow City in Belgrade. It is all mixed up. It is all totally mixed up. Macedonians would be much more comfortable with Yellow City, and Belgrade would be much more comfortable with White City. That is where we need to go. That is where we have to go with this entire situation. That is what will need to happen here. Britain also, it is 2 roses event. And America would be probably minimum 4 roses event. That is destination where we need to reach. Where we need to go. That is what my kind of people have capacity to do. And I can't accept someone to play avatar on my work. Excuse me. You're overstepping it. It is time to delegate the throne to me, my family. As my family, you will not have authority anymore to hold my account. My family, you don't have authority, I wouldn't say even anymore. From ever, you would not have authority to hold my account. My family, it accounts for slavery. And I don't want my kids involved on this as well, either. Out of question. They're with me. Therefore, it would be slavery over them. I cannot allow Donald Trump, my family, to have slavery ownership over my work. Donald Trump is going to go directly to White House at the end. And direct to Westminster Palace at the end. Continue to delay what's unavoidable here. I just can't understand the theater Donald Trump either. I just can't understand it. I just can't understand that theater at all. I can't understand the meaning of that theater. The mega protocol, as the Statue of Liberty, I am playing mega protocol. And it gets mega as it gets. And then it is about the flame, the light, and it is about the book. And Donald Trump doesn't have the book. Neither does have a flame. I have the flame and I have the book. When appears in hands of Donald Trump, it is slavery. There is no one else that would have been bigger slave owner than myself. I am born by my blood. It is in my blood. I own slaves because I need them. And I don't call them slaves. I call them assistants in 21st century. And they would be paid then and they are paid now. Everything else is BS. They would have been workers. I'm not going to go further on into variety of stories in what human manifestation can escalate. It is very hard to play human by a temple. When temple is one person and humans go and play in millions. You can't, and if you can't control these millions that are out of your temple, one will need to understand the struggle of the temple protocols to play humanity as well. by a protocol. But Donald Trump doesn't have sense for holding slaves. He doesn't have that kind of construction. He is opportunist. He is a child waiting for his presence. I wouldn't give him even slave owner title. It looks like he is not up not even up to it. That's how I see Donald Trump. What I'm going to say is that I feel much more representing that White House than Donald Trump. I can't see Donald Trump representing White House. He is Mason of White House. He is son of White House. He is not the White House protocol. He is the son, one of the sons. No, that's different. So I'm going to ask Donald Trump to stop playing the protocol White House. In these critical times, and I'm trying to reset my things on these levels, from where then we will need to work out in more specific terms how all of this is going. What continues to be equally very annoying is that people take all of this so much as a matter of their personal event that they are preventing, is going that far that they are preventing the one that really can relate to these matters on more personal levels to actually speak first. And that is what becomes very annoying. When you allow yourself to speak first on my account, and I'm going to call that profound offense. So I'm sorry for your death, but I'm not going to make entire day devoted to it. I'm going to find that inappropriate as well. You should have not allowed yourself to speak first on matters that are nothing of your development. You have not developed them. It is not growing under your feet. What on earth do you think you're doing? Americans, what on earth do you think you're doing? America is not native territory. It's imperial ground. It takes what it takes for someone to explain to you how that's going to be played. That is why I'm going in England, so I can work it out. To find you speaking ahead of the reason why I am heading in England. It is point not being understood. And it is you stepping up. Well, it is not yours to step up on this entire matter. It's all based on certification as well. Certification issued by the protocol stamp mark of White House. White protocol. White protocol is a protocol that you can't drive that protocol without certification issued. What you're doing is you're self-nominating yourself. With this election that you have out there, it's self-nomination. You're not connected to protocol White House. You're not connected to it. You're totally playing outlaws. You're not connected to the protocol. The protocol is not yet recalibrated. Why on earth I'm asking for office in England? What on earth do you think I'm going to play Queen Elizabeth here? Is that what I am talking about here? Is that what I want to go in England? To play Queen Elizabeth? For God's sake! For God's sake! For God's sake! I'm not going to mourn your death because it's happening out of stupidity. I'm not going to mourn it. I will be sorry for it as much as I'm going to be sorry for 7 billion of humans today. Dying in I don't know what numbers on daily basis. That is where my sorrow is. as equally as it is in Palestine, as it is in Africa and everywhere else. So keep your breath. Keep your breath wisely. We can't even understand yet what on earth means white protocol. We can't even approve it. We can't even certify it yet. For God's sake. I'm going to go into a mourning. Mourning for what? Mourning for what? I'm going to find, therefore, situation England versus situation USA, matter of certain distinctiveness that I am willing to make to give more credit to Britain, equally by admitting Britain to Europe. I am very much therefore expressing willing to bring Europe closer, to bring Britannia closer to certain certification point. Then I'm willing to do that with America at this stage. So I can't say how, based on that feeling, which is totally part of my mental configuration, how can possibly someone else drive on it? Maybe New Zealand can explain to us, or whoever is still playing management of dispersed political players on the planet, as to Australia eventually. Someone is trying to put us in play here in very artificial way. And that is not how protocol human can happen. So whoever is doing it, to stop immediately, playing humanity as on a chess table. At this stage, we need to establish who continue to pull the ropes on the planet and make out of humanity some kind of doll theater. Who is that center that continue to play out of main political stage a doll theater? Who is that center? Is that my homeland? As of today, they are going to be notified. They have lost any credentials to have anything to do with me. As of today onwards, they will be in category of criminal platform if in any single step they dare to do anything that is to do with me. They will be declared criminal offense. As of today, my diplomatic immunity granted to them stops. Whatever they do from this day onwards, of course I am one with my kids. Whatever they do from this day onwards on my account, I'm going to consider criminal event. To my family, my verdict for today. This is not their field, and they don't have right to think of it as their field. No, one single stamp as of now on, in relation to my matters, is going to be criminal status for them. Enough is just enough. Britain is a very challenging situation. As I have said, until I solve Britannia, I can't solve America, and America will be handled from Britannia, not their Britannia, not Britannia of King Charles, but Britannia of Mary when it happens. No Mary of Israel, Mary of Macedonia, Mary of ancient amphitheaters of Macedonia, Olympia, Mary. That is declaring today the entire original imperial stamp. want this to be a very challenging situation. But if we have eagerness to deal with these lands rather than to wipe them out, then we should be doing our steps properly. Next to this is to be wiped out. I'm still working the goodwill here. Let's do not put it on test. What I do here is nothing of easy. I'm on daily basis burning on this. It is mentally hard to see someone disrespecting it to such an extent. It's going to be exactly that. Highly disrespectful. This effort of mine, you continue to highly disrespect it. Accordingly, I need my own stamp before this is going to go into indefinitely into oblivion. These are going to continue to play the pawns of some kind of power, political power. I need my own stamp as it was in the movie Barbie. I need my Barbieville. I need my Barbie house. I need my Barbie stamp. I need my Barbie car. I need my Barbie political stamp. Because let's notice here, we are talking about political protocol. And I'm talking about planet Earth. I need my house defined independently before I confront with this kind of obsoletenesses, this kind of disoriented, lost people. And there is only one place where I can create that. That is, I wanted to say Olymp, but then I got reminded about the local population, and it looks like rather laughable to bring Barbie / Olympia Barbie protocol there. Well, I can call it Olympia Mary Magdalene, but it would be Olympia Barbie we are talking about. I don't want to be lost in churches and religions again. I'm getting out of there. So it's Olympia Barbie that I need to declare in Olymp. Now, as that might look like a thunder from the sky, and it is indeed thunder from the sky, as never ever these events would be happening in any other way anyway. And if you have remembered something like that 2 millenniums ago, at least you should be having some sense of reminiscence today, rather than that much disoriented performance. I apologize to locals for being so much monarchical without a castle. I have to make my own. And that's what I need to think about. Or to confiscate Westminster, Buckingham, and to send these people in Canada. So I can actually make very clear what we are dealing with here. Is when someone says new beginning, it should sound and it should look as new beginning. I'm going to take Barbie image into which I'm going to fit. That's my protocol. And that is how I'm going to define and defend America as well. So help me God. However, to the extent that Hollywood is part of American state, part of USA state, and it's part of the entire capitalism system, the enormous amount of earnings these people declare makes them on level of some kind of gods versus people of our territory. So I can't see how at this stage we can merge at all. It's rather impossible. It will take time. I would rather say longer period of time. These processes usually will need to start from realization, point of realization, and then we'll gradually start moving towards searching for the best structural answers, the best reformatic answers. But in any case scenario, there are two approaches to solving now this inherited situation. Either the goodwill approach, when which is harder, but also it is the only way where you can expect steady results, or a certain kind of atomic conflict, where there is no promise that anything will be solved afterwards. And I'm not sure that there is going to be much left to talk about either. So if you choose to go goodwill approach, then it's going to be steady, systematic. It will need to start from a point of comprehension and trying to understand how far these matters are escalating, what becomes overdone, unnecessary, and where you can find voluntarily, therefore, well, certainly could cooperate rather with the entire reform, where there will be happening that someone would appear as a taker, and it will be taken away what will need to be taken away. I predominantly talk about power to influence, and accordingly that definition of power to manage society, and where we would not like people interfering with that as a political professional approach. That is the first obstacle here, where America happens as this kind of mega oligarchs, like some kind of riders of apocalypse, literally, versus the rest of the planet. At some point end up to be dangerous event even for America itself, because it is just exceeding what the national ground of the rest of the nations. As much as it is imperial, all of the empires don't last long. The only question today is how it's going to be dissolved.